There we go.
Okay, that works. I can see the red light. Hi, I'm Lori White.
Hi,
And
Lori.
hi, I teach at Pierce College English, adjunct. And,
How did you come to Pierce?
you know, it's a funny story. And I just told you in the elevator.
Again, how did you come to
I'll
Pierce?
tell you again. I got my master's in December of 2004, and I knew that I wanted to teach. Which is funny, and I'll get to that later, because before I never wanted to teach. But I knew I wanted to teach after I got my master's in fiction writing. And so I contacted a friend of mine who had taught at Pierce, and I got my syllabus together all through January, and my resume, and she contacted the English department. They didn't have any openings, but I still showed up to try and talk to the chair just to get some FaceTime with her, and I was told no openings. And then a day later they called me, they had an opening. A professor
That's
had
so
dropped out.
amazing.
It's great. It was kismet. It was synchronicity. So I started teaching my first class 3 days later. So I had to rush and figure things out. He had already picked the textbook, and I picked some other books to go with it. And I started teaching. I didn't know anything. And fortunately, it was a very low-level composition course, entry-level composition course. And so the students there basically didn't know anything either, so we were perfect for each other. And I've been teaching ever since.
Where did you get your master's, did you say?
I got it at Antioch. I got an
Ah.
MFA in creative writing with a emphasis on fiction.
And did you have a degree before that, obviously?
I did. I went to Berkeley 20 years prior for my bachelor's degree. I majored in English literature strictly because I love reading, I love literature. I had no intention of teaching. Anyone that would ask me what my major was, I would tell them, and they'd say, "Oh, you're going to teach," and I'd say, "No teaching, never teach." And I got my undergrad degree, and I started waiting tables, because in the 80s I didn't have to worry about those kinds of things. It was a very different time. It seemed like there were opportunities. So this is what I wrote about today, was that I got my undergrad degree, I waited tables, I made a lot of money in San Francisco waiting tables, and then eventually I went into selling, and I sold subscriptions to a fashion report I was working on. Eventually I started selling furniture, and I did that and got into the furniture business. And I did that for a very long time, longer than I care to admit. But I loved to sell, and I was good at it. And when I turned 40, my whole life changed. My brother was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor, and for myself and for the rest of my family, everything sort of shifted. And I decided that I really wanted to write, and I really thought I wanted to teach. And I went back to school, which was so interesting. And I went back to school, got my master's so I could write, have 2 years of intensive writing. I was still selling furniture part-time to keep myself afloat back then. And I knew I wanted to teach, which was so interesting 20 years later, going from exactly what I said I didn't want to do to exactly what I absolutely adore doing.
Never say never, right?
Never say never, which is what I would say to my students. You know, what they think they want to do now will be a very different thing. And that's what's so exciting about life, is that we do get these different opportunities. So that's how it happened.
In undergraduate school, you decided you didn't want to teach, but you wanted to. What did you think you wanted to do?
You know, I know it sounds so ridiculous, but I wasn't thinking about what I wanted to do. I was only thinking as far as what classes I wanted to take. I'd come from a very rigorous prep school background in high school for 3 years of basically college level studying. And by the time I got to Berkeley, it was very easy after all that hard work in high school. Berkeley was almost too much of a breeze, and I sort of had my teen years there. And those were the 80s, you know, the sign of clubs, and, well, I guess it's still clubs now, but, you know, punk and new wave. I didn't think about what I wanted to do. I didn't. I thought I might sell something, because I knew I was good at selling, and I'd had a lot of selling jobs. But I loved writing, and I loved reading. I never felt I could be a writer, because I didn't feel that I was struck with that gift. And I've since learned that it has nothing to do with gift.
And was that just a time? Was that just time, or that gave you that idea?
Yeah,
that
and it was really about my brother being sick and realizing I'd always wanted to try and be a writer, and I never felt that I had the talent. But I took a few classes at UCLA Extension and found that I was good. I was a good writer, and that I didn't have to be struck with some sort of, gift.
How did you realize you were a good writer? What made that happen for you? That you just went and looked at it and went, "Oh, I could do this."
I could hear my voice in my writing, and I could hear it change. It started out one way and it changes, and I talk to students a lot about their writing voice, and I felt that voice was strong. And after a while, I heard teachers telling me it was a good voice, and then I got published. And that, of course, as fleeting an excitement as that is, it does, for a moment, validate my ability. It did. It does. For a moment.
Sure. Well, that's...
Yeah. But I love doing it. It's really not about a gift. It's about discipline. It's about sitting down and doing the work and doing it every day.
And so you were able to get into that habit, and...
I was. It was so much easier when I was in grad school and selling furniture because, I'd have my days that I sold furniture. I'd have my days where I sat at my desk. And, when you're in grad school for an MFA in writing, that's what you do is you write. And you're writing. I wrote short stories. So that was easy. Then mix in teaching, post-grad, and still selling furniture, and it became a bit more of a juggle, and it's still a struggle.
Are you still selling furniture?
No,
oh,
I
okay.
let that go. I did. I let that go. A little over a year ago, I quit selling furniture and went to teaching, part-time but full-time. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Thank you.